All right, it's another episode of the Pin High Podcast presented by Golficity. We had a historic win from DJ, and we'll be covering that as well as a lot of the other storylines we had from a great weekend at Augusta. We'll also give out some betting DFS picks for the RSM Classic, and we'll cap it off with a return of the par 3 segment. So let's get into it. All right, so DJ had, yes, it was historic, but that was also kind of boring, if I'm being quite honest.
It was.
I don't like it when DJ dominates like that, and he's done
It's
it in
just-
multiple
No,
tournaments
because
this
it's
year.
just
done
like
it so many
the
times
whole
this year.
Sunday morning. The whole Sunday morning, I'm like, oh, someone's down by 2. I'm like, I would cheer for DJ to miss a putt or someone to make a putt so it gets closer, and everyone's like, why don't you want DJ to win? I'm like, I don't care if he wins. I just want it to be closer. Like him coming down the last
not
2
even
holes.
him losing. It's more just
Yeah.
like it being close. To watch the last couple holes was because it's just obligatory to watch the last few holes of the Masters.
You have to. You have to watch. Like I watch until he gets the green jacket put on inside, and then that's when I turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
every time.
the ending is always nice, but
Yeah, this is always really cool.
yeah, that was tough. I mean, it was cool to see DJ play that well. He was locked in. I mean, obviously
Well,
he wasn't one of the guys that any of us picked, so that was kind of disappointing.
He
It's
should have
incredible.
been. The way he'd been playing before, he should have been.
Okay.
Like the results before were like first, sixth, first, second, second again. Now he's finished first again. Like
I'm
that's
sorry.
that's unbelievable.
But what was that piece of information from being the bookie where he was like, "Yeah, my friend's pro's head coach's son says DJ's not feeling it."
Well, he could have not been feeling well, but once DJ gets locked in, he gets locked in. I mean, he has had the back issues recently, and I know it made him drop out of a tournament a while ago. He had COVID as well, which is, I mean, I guess he recovered fine from that, but he didn't get to play.
Trev's fine.
Trev's fine. Yeah, I'm just saying he didn't get to play, so you don't stay as sharp when you don't get to play. But I mean, that's all I can say about that. I mean, DJ is definitely the number 1 golfer in the world right now. I mean, there's no doubt
He's the
about
best
it.
player in the world.
He's just unfazed. There's nothing you can do that can phase him. He he hit in the water on
Except for
Saturday.
Tell him to have a coherent conversation with Amanda Balionis after he wins the Masters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That was so funny to see him like that. It was like I didn't know DJ had feelings.
Yeah, it's so true.
Thought he
You
was a
don't even see him-
robot.
You don't even see him smile after you barely even saw him like the reaction. Obviously, there's no fans. The reaction wasn't as good as you would hope for the Masters, but it's knowing it was DJ, I knew I'm like this reaction is gonna be underwhelming no matter what's gonna happen. No matter if he wins by making the last putt or if he wins by 5, it's gonna be the same reaction.
His brother was tearing up, so then
Yeah.
he started tearing up, and then Paulina was making it all about her. It was the Paulina Gretzky show out there,
Which I was okay with.
which
Yeah.
it's fun to watch
Yeah.
for sure. Maybe with the mute button on, but but it was like, okay, let's make this more about the DJ who just shot 20 under at the Masters for the first time.
He completely dominated the whole time. It wasn't.
I
even,
mean, yeah. Rory said something.
Was he leading after the first round?
What was he at? He was at 4 under?
Yeah,
2?
he was.
Four.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought it was
I mean,
better than
it's just like I think Rory said something this week about DJ, how his game is just so automatic. Literally just hits it down the fairway, puts it on the green, and either putts it close or makes the putt. And he just does that on every hole, automatically.
It's harder than
Nothing
everyone,
gets in
too.
his head. It's crazy. He's like a robot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, it's only his second major. I don't know why that surprised me a little bit. I knew he
that's
only had one
surprising.
major, but it's just wow, DJ only has
That's because
2
he has
majors.
26 wins now, I think.
Yeah, I
25?
think so.
4? I don't know. A lot.
He's in the mid-20s there for wins. So the fact that
Yeah,
this
he's
is
got
only his
something
second major, I think that's crazy. I mean, I guess he got caught
that
in
is-
the Tiger
you saw
and
the
the
stat. You
Spieth.
saw a stat all Sunday, and it's this is DJ's fourth time sharing the lead or having the lead after 54 holes, and he's lost every other time before that. And like you like, in part of me wanted to say like okay, it's DJ, like it could happen again, but the other part of me was like he's on a roll, like he's due for a win. Like,
he was minus like 400 or like minus 300. It was minus 300 going into Sunday.
I mean,
Like,
I'm sorry. Like,
you came back on that.
yeah, I mean, being the bookie said it last week. Like, there was really only like realistically like 6 or 7 guys that could win the tournament, and like
I mean that wasn't really true.
I don't
though.
think it wasn't really true, but I just don't
Cam Smith
think
and Sung Jae were not on that
No,
list.
yeah, but the thing about that is with DJ with that lead, I don't think Cam Smith or Sung Jae were ever gonna threaten him like to get that lead. I just like I don't see Cam Smith coming down the stretch
they did.
like shooting like
Cam Smith shot in the 60s every single day.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't think they would have caught up to
He was
DJ.
2 back on 1 point on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, DJ played a good round.
Like, they never caught them, but like they were like those 3 were dominating like the screen time. One besides like DJ, because like Rory and JT were kind of like playing good, but not like they weren't close enough. And then like it was like those 3 guys. I'm like I don't want any of these 3 guys to win. I want someone like big to win, but the only person that's gonna win is big is DJ. And then
it's just like I just don't like see like obviously they could have caught up and they could have happened, but like I don't trust like Cameron Smith or Sung Jae Im to catch up to DJ.
No,
at
you're
that
not
point.
you're not gonna bet on them when DJ has
like
that.
honestly, like if somebody like John Rahm or Justin Thomas was like closer behind him, I would have been like, okay, like that's a guy that could like sneak up behind him and like catch him. But like it wasn't one of those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody who was just not even close to DJ, Bryson DeChambeau.
Disappointing week. I mean, everybody was saying he was gonna outdrive the course, and he was all over the place.
Ryan Whitney, a spitting chicklets, put out a video. He was like, whatever, like 67 is par for Bryson, like whatever. Like if that's the case, he was like 35 over par.
Right. I mean, like he wasn't hitting the ball straight at all. It was crazy.
I mean, here's the thing. I wake up at like 7:30 or 7 a.m. on Thursday to like get up and watch the Masters. First of all, rain delay. That's an underrated part of the week. That sucked. But then finally, like 10:30 rolls around, 10:25 or something like that. Bryson DeChambeau tees off. I'm so hype to watch him, like, you know, try to dominate the Masters. And he, you know, fine, good drive, approach shot to like 3 feet, miss birdie putt. I was like, oh no. This is really gonna be and then he pulls it like left into the trees on 11, I guess it was, and it was just like this.
When I saw him
all over the place.
When I saw him on 13, hitting the ball into the bushes and then handing the ball into the water, then looking for the ball in the bushes and then flubbing the chip after taking the unplayable, I was like, that's it, he's done.
Well, here's the thing:
the most underrated
after day one, he was in. Yeah. He was like he could have still turned around easily. DJ was.
Do you know what the turning point was?
Double, like you could like Rahm made a double and finished like 300 in the day.
Well, do you know the whole turning point?
Yeah.
The churning point of the tournament for Bryson DeChambeau is when he hit the ball into the left rough. I forget what hole it was, but he hit the ball into the left rough, and they were looking for it, right? And you're like, how do they not find this ball? He hit it like a good 10 yards off the fairway, and they had a bunch of people looking for the ball, and they couldn't find it. And he got I think he got a triple bogey on that hole. He should have had at least a par.
Yeah. And he hit his next ball into the exact same spot, had the chip up on the green, scolded the chip over the green. Like he just doesn't
you could
know
tell it
how
obviously
to deal with,
obviously rattled him that he was playing in a PGA Tour event and they couldn't find his ball 5 yards off the fairway.
Yeah,
I mean I think that's ridiculous. Now imagine if there was fans.
It happens to us all the time.
Yeah, it happens to us all the time.
Between him and DJ. If DJ doesn't find his ball, he's not going to get rattled like that and scold it over the green or flub a chip like he did earlier. Like Bryson, that's the reason why he didn't he was just done, mentally done. Like he's like, I don't want to play this tournament anymore. I mean
whatever.
DJ's different like that.
I mean, it is kind of ridiculous though. You'd think that there's marshals out there whose specific job is to spot balls, and they couldn't find his ball in the rough that was I guess it was pretty high, but it wasn't U.S. Open rough. It was. Yeah. I mean, I think that's crazy. And he shouldn't have had a 7, and that was the turning point of his entire Masters.
Yeah. Because something that I didn't take into account when being really excited for Bryson DeChambeau's featured group was how slow it was. I was like,
Oh my God, yeah.
like I was like, I should have seen this coming, but
Was it
this is
Rahm
just
and
like
Usti?
ridiculous.
He
Like
sits
there's so
on
much.
putts.
Well, looking for a ball for
Well,
like
not
20
even that,
minutes
because
on
I'm talking about
bushes.
like Thursday. Like I was
Yeah,
watching on
that's what I
Thursday. The
meant.
feature group was.
They looked for the ball for like 30 minutes,
Oh,
like on
right,
and
right,
bushes
correct.
on 13.
Yes, yes.
And
Too.
They found
and
it.
Brett,
Whose
they
caddy
did.
found it? It wasn't Bryson's.
I
Was it
am
Rom?
no.
Was it Rom?
It was
I was
Rom's
just.
caddy, I think.
I just remember. I just remember texting my friends and like my friends were all saying like this is like this like they're like that's us like we're looking like they're like us. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, and you know what? Like, what summed up the whole weekend? I think somebody asked John Rahm, like, so like, how was it like looking for like Bryson's ball? And Rahm just responded like, which hole? Because it
Yeah,
happened
that
like
was
so many
or
different
which one?
times.
Which one?
Or like which one? Like that just kind of sums up the week.
Yeah, that was tough.
I mean, there's
Another thing that was tough.
One thing I do want to add is like there was no spectators there, obviously, so like that kind of made the course play a little bit wider, in my opinion, because I feel like people were taking more aggressive lines where like normally there would be spectators, which made like some easier shots coming in. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
really
mean,
hope
and, like
there's
even on
fans
TV,
and-
it just makes the course look so much wider.
Yeah,
The shots, like you're able to see so much more of the course. Like just the shots of, like the aerial shots were so cool. And like I feel like I saw so much more than I used to in like previous years. Maybe that's because I haven't seen Augusta in like a year and a half. But yeah,
But even just like hitting it down like the rough on the right side, like a lot of people were in like the Pine Straw area, as JT was there a couple times. Like, imagine now if there was fans there, they would have to clear out all the fans, and you'd have to hit one of those shots pretty much around all the fans. Which whatever, they're pro golfers, they do it all the
that
time. But
picture.
like that's a little bit more like nerve wracking than just like hitting a ball out of the rough with no one
Yeah,
around
that's
you.
true. That picture that Max Home posted of him like hanging on 13 like through
Oh,
like
yeah.
the pine straw, that was so cool.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
And whatever, Cam
I-
Smith hit a couple of really good shots like through trees and like under trees
did.
and stuff, which was sick.
Shot 9 was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Last day.
I just kind of thought of something that ridiculous about like, yeah, you were like, I haven't seen this course in like a year and a half. Imagine telling we were sophomores at the time in college, your sophomore year self in
I know
April.
this.
Yeah, so you're not only going to be 22 the next time you watch a Masters, you're going to almost be done with college. Like,
I thought the
Like what?
funniest thing my friend says. Funniest thing my friend says was
I
on
was
Sunday we
19.
were watching, and he pulls up a picture of game day at the Masters. He says, "What would you do? He's like, what would you think if I showed you this picture at the beginning of 2020?" Like college,
game
like you're either thinking one game day is just being weird and going to the Masters, either
Just
the
going to
Masters,
Augusta for
Masters
some
are in
reason.
fall, and also two, you're thinking Lee Corso is dead because he's not on the set at college game day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're like a lot of thoughts are going through your mind in that moment.
Just
Which was-
I
It was
mean,
cool how they did
I
that.
feel like
It was
I'm
cool.
more
I love seeing game day there.
people were saying like it wasn't Augusta like you're used to, like we want it to be, but it's like better than nothing.
It was a unique
Yeah, it's better than
experience.
nothing.
I
Like,
feel like
people
that
are
won't
like-
ever happen again.
I
Never.
feel like definitely a
hopefully.
unique experience, and
Knock
then
on-
hopefully knock on wood. But also the course was like insanely soft the first 2 days as well.
Yeah.
Like that helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, who went
When
7 under
balls-
the first day again?
Balls are literally plugging on the green. Like
Paul Casey.
What?
Paul Casey was.
Okay, so you're right.
Yeah, I
But
don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I don't think you'll see a score like that again, like 20 under. I highly doubt that somebody destroys Augusta like that again.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bryson
I
did
mean,
at some
obviously,
point.
wouldn't be surprised, but like I just don't see it. The greens are just
I
way
think
too hard
Bryson
for
could
that.
at some point. I mean, I
agree.
still like, yeah, like Bryson's a mental midget, and I was pretty annoyed by his performance this weekend just because it was like
He's
so
mental
much
midget.
talk about. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have an 8-iron into the par 5, blah blah blah." It's like, well, yeah, did you hit every fairway in your practice round? I never took that into account. It's like, you gotta hit fairways, dude. Like,
He's
I mean,
not- he's not
you know he's
playing
wild.
tournament
Like it
competition.
happens. I mean, when he's
Yeah.
dialed in, he's hitting it far and hitting the fairways, and then also hitting it close and putting well. Like
Yeah,
that's just like
exactly.
it's automatic. But like kind of like at the U.S. Open. But this week he wasn't hitting fairways, and that kind of just tailspinned everything else. So
then I guess one of the last things we could talk about is how Tiger made a 10 on 12.
There was some stat
Sleep
where he's
on.
played like 23,000 rounds without a 10 or something like that.
He had a 9 at the Memorial,
Oh my god.
like in I don't know what year, like 2006 or something like that.
Sleep
like-
on the 6 holes after that. He was 5 under.
Well,
5 out of 6 holes.
I'm sure we all had the Tiger versus Phil bet, like the matchup.
I didn't.
And,
Well,
whatever.
Phil-
So I took it because it seemed like a good bet, and Tiger
Well,
was
Phil-
like automatically
Phil
gonna
shot
win
like
that. Well, yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying he was
Phil shot like
automatically gonna win that
79.
bet, right?
Sorry.
But then he makes a 10 on that hole, and all of a sudden he's a stroke behind Phil, and I'm like, you're +4 and Phil's plus. Like, how did that happen? He was like 2 under,
But then he
3 under.
finished off.
But then he
like, really
birdied
well.
like the next 4 holes, and
Yeah,
Phil like
5 out of
bogeyed a
6.
couple, and it ended up being like safe. But I was like, wow, this would happen, like where it was totally safe, and then like he made a 10.
The first day when Tiger like was like in like hunt like 3 back or 2 back or whatever it was, I'm like if he can 10s all weekend, like this is gonna be awesome. And then kind of like faded away a little bit. And I'm like I even thought on Thursday, I'm like even if he wins, it's still not gonna be as good as last year, but it'll still be amazing. But it's just not gonna be as good as last year.
I mean,
Yeah.
even at least when he made that 10, he was already like not gonna win. So
Yeah.
like there was that.
about
Imagine
the-
if he was like
The
in
bunker shot
contention
on
there.
that 10. On that hole, the bunker shot from like the awkward angle and just goes right back into the water. I'm like, oh my
Yeah, that
god.
sucked.
I don't
I mean,
understand how that happens. What? How far is 12 again? Like 148 or something?
Yeah.
I know it's a tough hole because like pretty skinny green, but like you put me out on 12 with no practice right now, and I might hit 1 into the water, or maybe even 2, but I'm not hitting like.
I mean,
No.
they go pin hunting, so it's like, I mean, obviously the first one there was a little bit wind up there, and he still got it in the water pretty much. And then the second one, you're like, okay, like maybe swing a little bit harder or whatever. I don't know. You probably don't change clubs, and
Also-
it happens again. So
Can we talk about Tiger's day? Either of you noticed that Tiger was like hurting a little bit Saturday?
I did not notice
I saw that.
He was like
walking a
literally,
little
like,
slow.
He was reaching. He was walking a little slow. He was reaching down to get putts and put his ball marker down, like with like his putter like in his other hand, and like kind of like slowly going down. I was watching. I'm like, this just doesn't look normal. And like on Sunday, it seemed like he was absolutely fine. So maybe it was just a little issue.
I mean, you have
I'm
to
not sure,
remember
but
because of all
it's just
the
always scary.
rain. He played like 24 holes of golf, I think, on Saturday.
that's true. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, but yes, yeah. Like maybe it was wear and tear. Hopefully, that's just what it was. And I didn't hear anything of it really after that, but he just looked a little bit. Looked like something was a little bit off.
Mhm.
That's all I saw.
Right. And then I guess this is some more Masters talk for our Monday hypothetical. Who came up with this, by the way? Was it you, G?
I did just like randomly.
You can introduce it.
We needed something. So pretty much, kind of like one of those like all-time hypotheticals. So let's pretend there's a playoff hole at the Masters, and you have everybody's in their prime. So like you have prime everybody. It's not like dead Arnold Palmer against like Tiger Woods. You know, everybody's in their prime.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's prime Tiger, prime Jack Nicklaus,
Dead people
prime
can't play
Arnold Palmer, prime Sam Snead. I put Jordan Spieth in there, and DJ since he won, who's winning. I mean, I feel like we're biased, so we're all gonna say Tiger.
The obvious answer is Tiger, but you can't count Prime Spieth out just because of his putting.
Putting is just. I feel like you just. Well, first of all, what hole is it at Augusta?
I mean, I
And
would
it's
assume
just
if they were to play a
18.
playoff, it would be 18.
Okay, as long as it's not 12, then speed is okay.
Or Tiger.
I mean,
That's
like
true. That's
I
also
wish
true.
I wish I could talk on
Well, that was
like
Prime
on Jack
Spieth that did that,
Nicklaus and
though.
like Arnold Palmer. Like we
That
just
was
didn't watch
Prime.
them, so like I don't know. Like I would like to ask this question to somebody who's like in their 50s, because like they've watched pretty
Like
much all
our
of those
dads.
golfers and see
Well-
like what they think.
Yeah.
I feel like an old golf fan could get mad at me for this, but like, could be a hot take. Jack Nicklaus, was he better than Colin Morikawa right now?
Never know. Might have been.
Good
It's
question.
so hard to compare,
Good
but
Well, you can't really compare
Because-
some. It's so hard to compare. That's the thing
'Cause the
about golf,
equipment-
because like
the
the
equipment
equipment and
length.
stuff, and the swing speeds, and
Yeah.
like all the numbers now, like
analytics.
it's just hard to compare. But like
It is
I'm
hard
just
to
thinking
compare,
like the clutch
but-
gene. Like do these people have the clutch gene? Like,
clutch
who's
gene
the
is
clutchest?
Tiger.
The
No question.
clutchest golfer, and it has to probably be Tiger. But like
Well,
I would just
it's definitely not DJ.
Well,
That's
probably
not even
not.
close.
But like, if DJ's like automatic like he was last week, it could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
it's
just
also
never know.
he's like, yeah, it's just like it could be this could be like his
'Cause
prime,
this
but
could be
also at
prime
the same
DJ.
time, it's
Yeah.
like when I think of DJ, I think of him collapsing. Like the first thing I think of was him missing the putt against Jordan Spieth at the U.S. Open.
I mean, whatever. This week he wasn't really in a position to like collapse.
No,
at
he
all.
wasn't.
And,
He wasn't.
and same thing with like with the FedEx Cup and stuff like that.
But
I
if
mean,
we're
it's just
talking,
we're talking like tied and everything.
one whole playoff.
You probably take him out
Tiger's
of
the
it.
most clutch player of all time.
Yeah, it's easily
No
Tiger.
question.
Tiger's the obvious answer.
Yeah.
But
Right. I'm like I said, I would be curious to see what somebody in their 50s says.
My
about
dad,
this.
my dad would still say Tiger.
Probably.
He said we would go on and say like Tiger when he was like a putt within 10 feet, he would never miss ever against Prime. And I believe him, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So any other Masters talk we want to go over? I guess we can talk about some guys just like off the top of my head. Sung J M, Cameron Smith, like Answer and Fratelli were the guys that it was like kind of not surprising that they are in there, but like you don't expect them to just be like in the hunt.
Sung J M and Answer,
so
we've been
Sungjae,
kind of our guys.
when the Masters was supposed to be played, right? You could argue that Sungjae M was the hottest player in the world at that time.
That's
So
true.
like
That's very
maybe
true.
he just like
I mean, he's
tapped
back
into that.
in
He's kind of
Sungjae
back.
form.
Yeah,
He's back
exactly.
in
So like maybe if it was played at the normal time, he would have finished in a similar spot. In his first Masters. That's why I picked him as a long shot on Skins this week. It was kind of random. I just kind of saw his name at 100 to 1 and I was like, you know what, this guy like scores, so you can never count him out.
I love
I
this
also like
swing.
Answer a lot too. He seems cocky, but I like it. I like him.
And
Yeah,
how
he
about
did
Rory?
an interview with golf.com recently. He didn't seem like a cocky guy, but I can see what you're saying. Like he carries himself very well on the
He
course.
does. I like him the way he walks around the course. I feel like he just thinks like I'm better than all of you.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know why him, but I love it.
I mean, his coming out party was the President's Cup. He was
and that was like only a couple months before the Masters, but still like he was like in good form around that time. So.
Mhm.
What about Rory? I mean, he played pretty well this week. I mean, he still ended up 9
First
shots
day
off
was
the
bad.
lead.
Nobody
but, like,
really expected that. Like
Yeah.
especially after day one. After day one, I was like, oh, typical Rory. Like,
Yeah,
but-
he's snap hooking the ball.
yeah.
Also, Corey Connors has been locked in lately.
Corey Connors is
lucky.
dialed, dude.
Like he finished 10th. So that actually gets him. Well, he obviously had to qualify for this event. Top 10 in ties, you automatically get to play next year. So he gets to play in the Masters next year without
That's
having
cool.
to worry about
Good for
qualifying.
him. Good for him.
Same with Cameron Smith.
I feel like Cameron Smith would probably make it anyway, but
Well, so would probably Corey Connors, but
probably. So yeah, do we wanna move into the RSM Classic?
sure. This week we
Yeah,
got the
let's
RSM Classic. Honestly, didn't know that was coming
The
up.
M&M
like-
Classic.
Yeah, the
Rename
M&M
one
Classic.
name.
That's the new name for it.
That's the new
M&M
name,
Classic.
Honestly, I didn't know this was coming up like right after the Masters because like obviously
Neither did I.
the Masters playing right now kind of throws you off a little bit, but the field is pretty good this week. I mean, you don't have like the top players in the world, but you have a lot of very good players. I mean, Webb Simpson's playing, Sungjae M, Tommy Fleetwood, Jason Day's playing. So you have some pretty good players in the field this week. Obviously not the top, but it's not like a terrible field. This event is played at Sea Island Resort. Usually played over 2 courses. So we're going to see the Plantation course, which is a par 72. It's 70, 60 in yards. It's kind of like more inland, so it's like tree lined and stuff like that. And then you have the Seaside course, which is a par 70, just over 7,000 yards. And it's like a coastal course. So these events are always tough when they're played over 2 courses, but just some stats to look at: par 4 scoring, ton of par 4s, especially between 450 and 500 yards. I think strokes gained approach plays better than strokes gained off the tee this week, and more specific, 125 to 150 yards are going to be a lot of approach shots this week. Who won last year? Tyler Duncan, I think, won last year.
Tyler Duncan won last year, correct?
The score was 11 under last year. I think it's going to play more around 20 under. I mean, last year was just kind of an anomaly. I don't know why I was 11 under,
11
but
under.
usually plays around 20 under. So expect some scoring.
Interesting.
High salary guys.
Yeah, so I was looking through this. I mean,
Wait,
obviously Webb Simpson.
Wait, sorry. Tyler Duncan went 19 under last year.
19 under. Okay, that's more.
Yeah,
like it.
I was about to say
Maybe he was 11 under in the
under
final
seemed
round.
way too low.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's 19 under. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of information, I feel like.
I mean, 20 under should be like the score. Like
Yeah.
So I was looking at the high salary guys, and you see that it's like a kind of island kind of course, or at least one of them is, and you think like, oh, Tyrrell Hatton, he's good, like a win player, I feel like, but I feel like he didn't play like great this week. I mean, he got cut, so I feel like Tommy Fleetwood might be a better move if you're gonna choose between them.
I agree with that.
But the main guy, I mean, like I'll go into it later, but I feel like Sung JM is the top guy to get this week.
I mean, yeah, just based on how he played last week, and if he's locked in like he was at the beginning of the year, I mean, he's gonna finish top 10 at like every event. So.
You can't really go wrong with Webb here either. Webb always dominates here, always finishes like top 5.
I mean, yeah,
always.
just like best overall
his
player in the
salary's
field.
so high. That's not
it's
a problem.
him. I mean,
also though, I mean, like, difference between Tommy Fleetwood and Webb Simpson is 500 though. Like that's a good amount of salary. So
it's true.
I mean, 300 between him and Sun JM. I like Sun JM a lot.
Yeah, I'd rather do Sung JM just for that matter. So let's go Sung JM for our top high salary guy.
Sure.
So I'll start, I guess. Last week I had Ricky, who finished T29, just kind of classic Ricky, just doing very average. And then I had Zach Johnson at T51. I mean, I thought he was going to do a lot better than that. A lot of his finishes are like make the cut and then finish last of the guys who make the cut at the Masters. Yep. Or they're
he's like
that
guy. He's like that guy that's always like congratulating the winner at the end. And you're like, oh yeah, he won the Masters.
Exactly. Same thing. I mean, I hate to say it, but like low-key Spieth too now.
I mean, yeah, but like that he's won.
He's there in his green jacket. He's like every year he's so excited to come back.
Like Zach Johnson is always that first guy to like congratulate the winner, like wearing his like green jacket and everything. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Corey Connors, my first one, 8,900. Like we said, he's locked in. He's an elite iron player. We always say that. He's 36 in strokes gained off the tee, which is like his highest ranking right now of the basic stats that I saw. That's pretty good. And he just obviously, like I said, he's locked in. He finished 10th at Augusta and 8th at the Zozo, so he's in good form.
Kind of amazing when you go week to week. Like last week, he was 6,600 in salary. Obviously, it was the Masters, but like that seemed a little low to me. And now he's just like 8,900.
Exactly.
So I'll go with my first pick. I'm gonna go with Sebastian Munoz at 9,000. He's coming off of 5 straight top 30s. Finished T19 last week, 9th at the CJ Cup. In these types of events, he's just like one of the guys that's been like up around the top, especially in the first round. I feel like I see a lot of first round leaders for Sebastian Munoz, so I think he'll continue the form quite well. And also last week I had Matsuyama at T13 and Connors at T10, so good week.
All right, so last week I had Jason Day got cut. I feel like he had a good first day though, so I was kind of surprised I saw him cut on the weekend. And Louis Oosthuizen T23 also had a great first day and kind of came down to earth a little bit. But I'll go with Brian Harman, first pick, 8,500, top 30 in his last 5 starts, and he has 10 rounds under par, under 70 in the last 3 years, including a 4th place finish and a 14th place finish last year. I think that's decent value for a guy who's kind of playing consistent, steady golf. Now I'll go Ches Reavie at 7,500. Played well on the weekend at Augusta, finished T29. I'm a big form guy, and he's played, like, I feel like that gives him a lot of confidence in a field like that, a place like that. So it kind of fits the mold for a player who hits fairways, controlled in the wind, if there's wind, and good short game. So I think 7,500 is a pretty good value for our guy, Ches Reavie.
I feel like you just picked the same player twice. Like Brian Harman.
I did. I pretty much did. They're basically
Brian Harman is the lefty version of Ches Reavie.
It is. If I give a picture of my friends of both of them, they would not be able to tell them apart at all.
Other than the fact that one's a righty and one's a lefty.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. I just think that's funny that you picked like the same player.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but they're basically you're right, the same exact person.
Hopefully one of them wins this week. So I'm gonna go with Henrik Norlander at 7,100. Just looking at par 4 scoring average this season, he's actually T29th. I mean, obviously he's not as hot as he was at the end of last year, but he did finish T5 in the same event last year. So I'm just going to go off of that. And guy at 7,100 to finish T5 in the event last year, why not?
All right. And I'm going with Harry Higgs for my last one. Another one of our guys at 6,900. I feel like this is the time of year where he starts heating up. Even though we don't know much of Harry Higgs, but last year this is around the time where he started to play well. He's 16th in strokes gained off the tee. He was T21 at the CJ Cup. Obviously, we're big form guys during a time like this. Another stat I saw that was 42nd in greens and regulation. I like to get a guy under 7,000 in my DraftKings picks every week, just to because I like to go with some of the higher salary guys a lot. And pair them with some of the lower salary guys that have value, so that's why I'm going with Harry Higgs.
So I actually really like Harry Higgs this week. That was going to be my second pick, but then I saw that you had it.
I honestly love all the guys that we picked.
Just looking at the par 4 scoring average again, Harry Higgs is actually T9th this year in par 4 scoring average, so he does score pretty well this year. So that's a good stat this week.
I really like Harry Higgs then, yeah.
Especially under 7,000. Why not?
Good stuff. Long shot, maybe.
Maybe. See what his odds are.
So yeah, let's move on to bets. I was the only one who had a best bet this week. It was Sung J.M. top Korean, and he came in second. So obviously, DJ is not Korean, that we know of. And so I have 6 points. Jeek has 5. Trev is still leading with 7. I guess I'll start with.
Really went for the 2-pointer last week, and it just didn't hit.
With what again?
Finau top 10. He didn't even finish top 20.
Yeah. All right, so I got.
Didn't finish top 30.
Yeah.
T38.
Came top 40. Yeah.
Math.
So, Sung JM is my winner this week. 2,200. I know it's like kind of a random tournament, but for Sung JM, I feel like that's pretty good value. He's like the third
really good
favorite. Value. So I feel like that's. When I was coming to the document, I was expecting like 1,500. So I like that. And then for my best bet, I got Sebastian Munoz at top 40. I saw top 30, and I was going to do that.
Plus 100?
Yeah, it was plus 138
oh my
for
God.
top 30s, but I was
might be
plus 200.
That might be the easiest bet. Ever.
I know. Top 40, like what? He has to make the cut, like decent.
Plus 100? That's even?
We're
saying this now and come back to us. Clip this next week when
we'll
come back to it, and we're like, when he gets caught, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like a joke.
Especially since I'm about to pick him too. Yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll go with mine. Last week, JT finished in 4th. Had a good week, but couldn't get it done. And as we mentioned, Finau top 10 did not hit. So my winner this week, I'm going to go with Joaquin Niemann at plus 4,500. Now, that seems like really long odds for him, especially like based on his form. Obviously, he missed out on the Masters last week due to COVID, so that's kind of
I feel like that seems about right.
Think so?
For a guy who hasn't really played because of COVID.
I mean, he missed like 1 week. So he was, before that, he was coming off of 3 straight top 20s, including a 6th place finish at the CJ Cup. He's getting close. I feel like he's going to win one soon. So I might just keep picking him. Who knows? We'll see what type of events we have. I don't know. He's just like a really solid golfer, and I like the odds a lot at plus 4,500. And then my best bet, I'm going to go with Sebastian Munoz top 20. It's plus 225, which I think gets me a plus 2.
It would.
Yeah. So
it would get you plus 2.
I'm trying to catch up here, so I'm going for the plus 2. We'll see if that works.
All right, so I had Xander last week. My guy, T17. Not bad. Could have done better. Spieth, top 30. Nope. Not really surprised there. That was just kind of like a hope it happens. Maybe it does. So I got Kevin Kisner to win. Basically the third member of the Brian Harmon Cesare V doppelganger party. Plus 4,500. It's just like he's like a hometown kid, kind of like lives close by, or lives on the coast. Went to Georgia.
He's not quite a Sea Island boy, but
yeah, he's not quite. But like he's close. He's close. And then And like I feel like he's a guy like hits the fairways, gets on the green, good putter. Like we'll see what happens. And plus 500, I feel like it's just a gut feel. So
There's such a theme this week on the picks, Trev.
yeah, I know. Short guys.
The short guys who play consistent golf and could putt pretty well in a round. Very solid players.
Yeah. Now going at best bet, Sungjae Im top 30. I mean, we talked about Sungjae. Brad thinks he's gonna win. We all think he's gonna do great. Top 30 at minus 125 is, I think, great value. Almost as good as value as Sebastian Munoz. So we'll see.
All right.
First round leaders.
Let's move into first round leaders. We don't have the odds on these yet because DraftKings Sportsbook is not on Mondays for golf. That's why I don't know. Some of our picks are a lot of the time are like top 40 because the matchups aren't out yet. But you can get those obviously on Golf City Bets on Tuesday or on Wednesdays. So on the Instagram. But we have two first round leaders. Don't know their odds. First one's Harold Varner III. I came up with this one. I don't know. I feel like Harold Varner's a guy that actually kind of is a first round leader guy that's like in these low key tournaments. I feel like he puts up like a 7 under, 8 under sometimes, and it's probably pretty long odds. So
right. And then I went with Dylan Fratelli. He's another one of those guys that's like hangs around in the beginning of rounds. He's been playing pretty well recently. I think he had a top 10 last week at the Masters. So and he's one of those guys that could score. So I mean, early in the round, Dylan Fratelli might be a pretty good first round leader. Like I said, we'll see what the odds end up being. I'm not sure what they're going to
exactly.
be.
Yeah, I feel like this Harold Varner ones will be really good odds.
I like that.
I mean, what are his odds to win? It's usually like
it's plus 7,000, 70 to 1.
It's usually like a little bit more than that. So he's probably gonna be like 100 to 1.
Probably.
That's crazy.
So
I like it. I like it too.
Think about it. So we're gonna put the birdies and bogeys aside for a little bit because it's just kind of turned into, do I have COVID or not? It's like birdie. We're talking about this. It's like, oh, by the way, COVID update of the week.
COVID check-in of the week.
We'll call it the
do you
COVID
have COVID
update
or
of the
not?
week. I do not have COVID. But
that should be another segment. Just like do it. Like, do we have COVID or not? That should come.
But I got a message yesterday, even though I tested negative, saying from some quarantine lady director saying I need to leave campus or I have to stay in a hotel on campus for 14 days and miss Thanksgiving. So here I am in Norwalk, Connecticut, 24 hours later.
Amazing what one little text message could do to you.
Yep.
Exactly. So goodbye, first semester. Anyway, so that's why. So we're doing the par 3 things that happen when you're golfing with your friends. If you're not familiar, you're probably new to the show. If you haven't heard of par 3. I feel like when did we stop par 3 segments?
Probably when the new season started.
When the new season happened, we stopped the par 3 segments. It's basically just like a top 3, but
it's par.
Yeah. But it's par. So I came up with this one. It's just it's kind of inspired based off in college. I feel like especially you're playing with at your local muni with kids that don't really play golf. So just funny things happen.
Yeah, and they could be either very specific or just non-specific things that just happen.
Minor,
you know what I mean?
General. General. I feel like the things that'll happen, but they happen every single time I play with all my friends. So it's funny.
Actually, mine's not even that specific. I feel like everybody has
that much.
So
I like mine.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go. It's also can be guys the guy who quote unquote always plays better than this. He's playing bad. He's like, dude, I always play better than this at home. Better than this at home when I'm with my dad or blah blah blah. It's you're just playing bad. You don't have to you're not great at golf. You don't have to keep telling me that you're good at golf.
Yeah, that's. And you're playing with them, and you're playing you're on a team or something like that. I play with my friends
I
on
always
teams, and I'm like, dude, you said you're a 90 range golfer. He's she's topping every tee shot. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. I feel like if someone you're oh yeah, I shoot in the 90s, they're gonna
don't know what the 90s is.
Yeah.
All right.
I could do one because I just came up with one. The guy that spends more time in the woods than he does like on the fairway.
Yep.
There's always one of those guys who's like literally spends more time looking for his ball in the woods than he does like on the fairway or in the rough. Like, just always
People
happens.
who like just don't play golf. It's like whatever. Like I don't care if you play bad as long as you play fast. But like there are guys who just like care way too much about like their Nike Mojo ball that was in the woods. Like
Whatever. The
just,
guy.
like,
So
spend, like,
that same
10
guy
minutes.
who always goes into the woods is always the guy that comes out with like a Pro V1. He's like, I found one.
Yes, that's true.
I was gonna say, I'll go with mine. I was gonna say, literally, like you said, Mojo ball. I said the guy who picks up a range ball or a Mojo and starts to play it the rest of the round because they had nothing else to play.
Dude, that's so true. One of my friends always ends up playing a range ball by the end of the round.
Yeah, he's playing like a yellow range ball. I'm like, I think we know which one's his.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. And then my next one is the guy who always says, "Call me Tiger," on every hole.
Yes.
Or after every putt.
Or like someone hits it and they're like, "Come on, Tiger!"
Yeah, exactly. And it's I love it. I think it's hilarious, but it's just something that always happens.
Yeah, every group
I
has
mean,
one
I
of those.
got my second one is the guy who's like too confident in his golf game that he becomes like a degenerate gambler and just loses all his money.
That's also
'Cause
that's
there is that guy in every
right.
group who
Yeah.
thinks he's so good at
It's very
golf that he
common.
has to bet on every hole and like loses every hole. Just happens.
All right. So my second one, it's not the guy. It's just pretty much generally everyone stops carrying the second alcoholic beverage is cracked open.
That's also true.
Nobody cares about their
Happens.
score anymore once
No.
once the beer comes out. Nobody.
Well, our thing with my group we play with like, no matter who we play with and how many people it is, like if it's like 8 in 2 separate groups or like 4, we always play against each other and we're always like playing like we're always like talking trash and everything. So we're like we like don't even take a sip of alcohol like when we play like
Exactly.
here.
No, but like
Because like we're playing
there's certain
we're like
rounds
we're like
where we do and certain
intense.
rounds where we don't. And there's
Yeah.
the rounds where we don't, like we take it seriously. We're playing each other, but like if we're playing a match and like we start drinking, it's like nobody cares
It's
about
over.
the match
Yeah,
anymore.
it's
Like
over.
by the 6th hole, we're like, you guys want to just call it even? Just like
Yeah.
And then I guess my third, it was gonna be the guy that always asks you for balls when he runs out, but we kind of covered that. So it's gonna be I'm kind of this guy more like when we play. It's the guy that like could maybe lose like when there's no money involved, but you throw like $10 closes the pin on
Yep.
the 18th hole. I'm winning it no matter what.
That's you. So, just going back to that, like when Pat and I play golf, like I think every time that I beat Pat in like a match, he goes, "All right, double or nothing, like 18th closest to the pin," and he always wins his money back. Almost.
You
always.
have never won money off me.
Because he
if we
literally, like,
played
I'll
a
win like
match-
$40, and then he'll be like double or nothing close to the pin on 18, and like he'll hit it to a foot, and then like I'll hit like a decent shot.
There would have been no money on the line. Like I feel like you've only beat me when we just forget to like put any money on the line, and then we're like, well, it's the 18th hole, like let's put something on it.
I could be dialed in
That's when
all
I went
day,
to the
and I'll
shot
triple
like
bogey the
90.
18th hole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Whichever. The
I mean,
it doesn't
like,
help
that
that the
even
18th hole at Silvermine is like a par 3 that like plays different every time you
The joke.
hit it. Like,
Last fall, like a year ago, I was down 3 with 4 holes to play, and against 2 kids, it was 1v2, and I was like, and we had no money on it. I told him I'll put $5 on it. I win the last 4 holes.
You're just like the stakes are higher. Like honestly, you should just play in tournaments all the time. Your stakes are higher. You just come alive.
Hey, except that my boss waxed me out of like a ton of money when I played against her. So never paid her though.
I'm trying to think of like one more. I had one in my head, but I completely forgot it when we were like talking about that real quick.
Do you want me to go? I have
Yeah,
my
go
last
ahead.
one.
I forgot it.
I always think it's the funniest thing, but so my friends are like they're not good. So someone always puts off the green, always.
De-greening themselves, yeah.
Yes, always, and it's hilarious every single time. We just like we're like I'm like yeah, it's too hard. And we just like watch it roll off the green, and we're just like
You don't,
laughing.
yeah. Like the other day, especially, I feel like I was playing with one of my friends, and like, just must not have like just seen that it was straight downhill the whole way, and he hits it like, hits it so hard and just like rolls like 40 yards off the green.
And I'll tell my friend, like I'm like I'll read the putt before like they hit it, and I'll go last, so like I get a read too, see if I can make it. And I'll say like, okay, it's down grain because we have like Bermuda grass down here. It's down grain and it's downhill. Like it's not, don't have to hit it that hard, and he'll still just pound it and it'll go past the like all the way past the hole off the green. I'm like, you're going to get that.
So I figured out the one that I forgot. It's the guy that always gets into beef with somebody else on the golf course. That is like just a random person who's playing on the golf course. Whether he like hits up on somebody, or he like hits into the other fairway and like goes in front of somebody, or does something that's not like golf etiquette enough that he like gets into beef with somebody else. Because I feel like everybody always has that person.
Going off that, like the guy like calls you out for cheating or gets caught out for cheating. Like there's some guys every now and then it gets that like, or like miscounts or whatever, or like calls you out for cheating even though like you're kind of like the right score. So it's always one of those guys that like is like takes it a little bit way too serious.
I've been known to be that guy that pisses somebody off every time, because like every once in a while I'll just hit an absolute nuke and I like forget, like I just be like, wow, I just hit that like at that person. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, at our we play at like a muni course that every student plays for free. So like most people could care less if you hit up on them.
See,
like,
now it's the complete opposite where we play, because I play like in like city of Boston courses and like courses around Boston. So like all the people,
it's a bunch of massholes that like
are like serious about it.
Like you're with a lot of massholes, and I'm saying here, if we hit anyone like they'll like Southern hospitality is like, oh, like that's fine, I'll play with us. Like yeah.
Well, whatever. It sucks. You guys probably you guys probably also play golf for free or like close to free. Like probably like 10, like $15, $20.
$15.
Yeah, we pay like $80 to play at like some crappy golf course. Like
we literally asked our professor today like about like we told him what everyone shoots, all 8 of us, what everyone shoots, and what he thinks everyone's strokes should be, and like where we play, and like he's like all right, you play at this course, like you'll play for $10 every single time. I'll give you a deal every single time. Like he's like, play here from here on out every single time. I'll give you a deal. We're like, okay, like we don't care where we play.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And I have a couple honorable mentions. I don't know about
honorable mention. Okay, go for it.
Someone throws a club or almost throws a club.
My friend Jackson throws a club every single time.
Yeah, the guy that needs the guy that needs anger management classes.
He threw a club, no joke, like 45 yards on Saturday.
Oh my god!
It's like half a joke, but like he's actually mad.
the funniest thing with my friend is though he'll hit a bad shot, he'll go top it, and then he'll turn around and like have the club like swinging in his hand, and like not to throw it. And then my friend will be standing right behind him, like getting ready to hit too, and he'll like flinch like every single hole. It's so funny. I'm like for a second, I'm like, is he gonna let go? Like, and like my friend just like flinches, and it's every single time. And it's hilarious.
I got a couple of honorable mentions too. I mean, one, the sandbagger. Everybody has that. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I haven't played a full bunch because I feel like a lot of my friends aren't as good at golf, so they can't really sandbag you. What was the other one?
One of my friends is he's the guy every single time. He has a big baseball swing, kind of like yours, Pat. Slice, like a big loopy slice.
Not anymore.
Swing.
Not anymore.
Used to. Old Pat. But he hits it into the tree, like the top of the tree, to like right to the left of the tee box every single hole, pretty much.
Okay, then the other one is the guy who dresses like they're a pro golfer, like wears like every brand, like thinks they're a pro.
And I'm all about some golf style, but like it's when it's the guy like you see like at like the local muni like wearing like the tiger red shirt with like black pants.
No,
like,
you can't. Like,
you can't
local
do that.
muni.
Think that's just a stereotype that's not real.
If you're playing with your friends, if you're playing with your friends like a muni or like a public course, and your shirt is tucked in, you're a hardo. 100%. Like I always like we're always like wearing our shirts like tucked out, whatever. Like we don't.
I occasionally tuck mine in just because some of my shirts are like more comfortable tucked in. But I agree in general. Like
I will say
like you just don't care what you look like.
The 85-year-old like starter at some of these like Massachusetts courses will get like pissed, and then like you get to the third hole and then you're like yeah. But I think it's kind of funny.
I agree though with that.
The course I play at, literally, I've seen like people playing like a Kobe jersey before.
Oh yeah, easily. You can wear whatever you want at the course I play at. Like I show up in sweatpants and a t-shirt the other day.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
Wish it was.
It's just like that style's low key grown on me. Like sweatpants or like say it's like a nice day, but it's like you just wear like athletic shorts and a collared shirt.
Yeah.
I used to think it looked sloppy, but like you can kind of pull it off if it's like a shitty course and it's you know.
It's like the GM Golf Sunflower
GM
Hills.
Golf look. Yeah, it's grown on me. You can make it look good and make it not look sloppy.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I would say if I really want like we're getting used to that vibe, which makes me really want to go to like the Bahamas and play in like just like a swimsuit and like nothing else.
Love to golf.
That's like my dream. Just go over there and play like barefoot. Awesome, so cool.
I would
golf in our features socks or whatever.
True. Features. I'm actually wearing Bombas right now, but
so am I.
Features are way better. I will say.
Socks. I love their socks. I wear them every time I play here.
I've lost all the features socks, honestly. I've lost. I have like a black sock and a gray sock, and I just wear those together.
Yeah. So I mean, any more honorable mentions for this part 3? I feel like we had a lot. So
there's a lot of them. So I mean, if we should post this on the Instagram potentially, just like something like this, and you guys can comment, your own things that you've come up with.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like we can move on from the part 3 segment. It's about it for this week. Actually, kind of a long episode, probably.
It was.
Yeah. Probably like close to an hour, but there was a lot of Masters talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like usually after the Masters, I'm like kind of checked out of golf, but I feel like I'm still into golf. There's not much else going on right now.
Yeah, agreed. I mean,
college basketball.
Until college basketball starts, like Thursday,
Friday.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving week football.
Can't wait for exactly.
Yeah. It was a little weird having the Masters on while football was on. Except I did notice that they had more games in the 4:00 window than they did in the 1:00 window, which is like smart. So
all the
I didn't like it,
1:00 window games were on Fox.
Yeah,
that's kind of true.
CBS Masters. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked having a big 4:00 window. I actually did well during that. So we'll see you next week at the tournament that is going on that
Honestly,
week.
I think there might be no tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wonder what we're going to talk about next week.
I mean, we did it during COVID for like weeks on end.
That's true. That's also true.
It's kind of ridiculous.
We got the RSM Classic
Golf
this
week.
week. There's no tournament last week. The week after that, and then we have the Hero World Challenge. So we don't have golf next week, but we'll have an episode.
Well, isn't it Thanksgiving week next week?
It is Thanksgiving.
It is.
All right, we'll see. We might have a Thanksgiving week episode, or we might take it off.
Good Wednesday episode for all you people who are traveling for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll put together like a nice commute one, like 20 minutes long for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll just only do an interview if we can find somebody to interview. We could have the other Trevor on for you guys. Maybe.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be really fun.
I feel like we talk about other Trevor all the time because he's our I'd say our fourth, and maybe Menet too.
Yeah,
we could have them on maybe as guests. That could be a funny episode. That could get off the rails.
A live podcast on the golf course, maybe.
Maybe. All right, no, that would be a little.
That'd be so terrible.
It would be a little
Tune in next week. We'll have one out next week for sure. I think we've just kind of processed through that with you guys.
Do you know what we have next week? Next week is the match.
Oh, the match. Oh, yeah. We'll have an episode for sure.
I think we'll still have those two special guests as well.
I think we will because we'll probably be watching
them
for that match.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. All right, we'll see you guys next week.